known by its map designation as Area 51.
We're now learning Area 51,
known as Area 51.
Thank you for
Near
clearing that
Area
up.
51.
Thank you.
Known as Area 51.
Because Area 51 is very important.
They called him Jimmy, and everybody wanted to be his friend.
What's good? What's good? Welcome here, Area 51, here with your host, Jimmy. What's up? What's up? Welcome here to Golden Era Boxing. Here, in this program, we talk about boxing and other things that are happening around the world. We try to be as unbiased as possible when it comes down to talking about boxers and biased when it comes to talking about boxing, right? So that's what we do here. And that's some of the things, that we incorporate, things like Undisputed, clean up your division, things that are important for boxing that should be a priority. And we try not to stick with the new era of boxing, which is everything was about, fame and commercialization of boxing. Anybody that's looking for like A side, B side, who's going to make more money? I make more money, therefore you're going to kiss my ass. I don't believe any of that garbage. I believe the undisputed champion is the one who, if anything, would have the right to tell other fighters what to do. But even with that said, in boxing, just like any other competition, you got to fight everybody. If not, it doesn't really matter what you do. You can be the richest person on the world, but your legacy is still going to be garbage. So I care more about legacy. And if you don't like that concept, this is kind of probably not going to be a good channel for you. So Passport, we don't want you here anyway. All right. So, I've been seeing this whole saga about Tyson Fury and Oleksander Usyk. Oleksander Usyk, in my pound for pound list, and in Golden Era, is the number one pound for pound. He was in the cruiserweight division, and he fought Glowacki, he fought Gassiev, he fought Marius Brades. He basically became undisputed. He fought everybody, Marco Huck. It didn't matter who you put him with. He went and fought those people and never came with an advantage. Then he got up. He fought Tony Bellew. He then fights Chisora. He fought Tom Witherspoon. I mean, Witherspoon wasn't the best fight, but he was, he's coming up. And then he fought Anthony Joshua 2 times, and he didn't even give him a rehydration clause or, nothing. He just accepted and took the fight. So that's the type of fighter that I like. Okay, there's certain fighters that I like, and that's one of them. It's not because of his style of boxing. It's not because he is much better than any other boxer, skill-wise. I think he's a good fighter, but it's just that he takes the risk, and I gotta appreciate that because there's a lot of fighters who are not doing that. Okay, who are supposed to have more skill, but they're not taking that. Take, for example, Canelo Alvarez. He is a skillful fighter, but when he sees certain fighters, he just doesn't want to take them, and then he gives the excuse that these fighters are not worth anything, right? Usyk doesn't do that, so I gotta respect that. Oh, Gennady Golovkin, right? This guy is a god of war, whatever. He didn't even go one weight class up to fight Andre Ward in a saga that he could have done it, but he made Kell Brook come up 2 weight classes to fight him. That's okay, but he can't fight Andre Ward. And this guy is supposed to be the god of war, never unified, became undisputed. I mean, he did unify, but never become undisputed. Never even clean up his own division. All the time he's there, just done defenses against fighters who they're not even Halls of Famers. I mean, he done anything. So I can't respect a fighter like that. But I like Usyk. And to me, Usyk is what a real champion should do. Just take all the fights and just fight, and become undisputed. That's what he wants. He wants to become undisputed. So I like Usyk a lot. I think in general, Ukrainian fighters, Dominican fighters, Argentinian fighters too, but especially right now, Dominican and Ukrainian fighters, they're taking really hard risk in the sport of boxing, and they're doing a much better job than I'm seeing from other countries who, are like United States or Mexico, where I feel like a lot of the fighters are not taking the risk that they should. They're supposed to be more skillful, but they're afraid of a different fighter, so therefore they're not going to take certain fights. So that's why Usyk, to me, is a fighter that should be considered pound for pound king as for right now. Now, where things get a little bit strange is that Tyson Fury is a fighter that I like, technically speaking. He's a good fighter. And he was the lineal champion. Technically, he's still the lineal champion if you think about it. But he is a fighter that he beat Deontay Wilder in a few fights. He beat Dillian White as well. I personally thought that Deontay Wilder could beat Tyson Fury, and the fights or whatever. I don't believe that Fury cheated. I just think that's a cheap excuse. I actually believe that Deontay Wilder, you can check my videos on that. I thought Deontay Wilder could actually beat Fury. It's just because it's not because of his skill set. It's just because he's a punching machine, and anybody's really outboxed Deontay Wilder. But once they get clipped in 1 second, it's over. I saw that with King Conor Ortiz, and I thought that could possibly happen to Tyson Fury. But it's boxing. Styles make fights, and sometimes you're gonna get it right, sometimes you're gonna get it wrong. But Tyson Fury beat him, and he beat him fair and square. Anybody who's putting excuses for Deontay Wilder is just simply a hater. That's just what you are. If you're putting excuses for Deontay Wilder not to beat Fury, it's not Fury's fault, because Deontay Wilder is just not skillful enough. If he had the skill and the power, then that would be a different beast. But he just had the power, and the skill was, neither here nor there. But Fury is a very strange character because, see, he doesn't want to take the fight with Oleksander Usyk as trying to make this fight happen. The first time I heard Fury speak about this fight, he was talking about $500 million to fight in Saudi Arabia. He said he wouldn't fight Usyk for less than $500 million. I mean, that's crazy. That doesn't even make sense. Not even Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao made that much money. Not even, they wouldn't even make more money than Canelo versus Golovkin. They wouldn't make that amount of money. In fact, they even make the same amount of money, maybe less, than Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia. I don't know. Because there's no real American heavyweight, so it's harder for these fighters to make real money. Now, he is British, and he can indeed, bring some money to the table. England is like a second tier when it comes down to making money. I think Australia is becoming that way too. Canada used to be there too. But now England is the one that's like a second tier for making money, and then Saudi Arabia, right? But $500 million to fight Usyk, it was already a sign to me that I don't think he wanted to fight this man, okay? I'm just letting you know. Then he starts giving the excuse that, okay, I want 70-30, right? Now, when I think of the 70-30, I automatically become super suspicious of this, because that's exactly what Errol Spence was trying to do with Terence Crawford. Just lowball him, 80-20, 70-30. Once you start doing that, you are already telling me that you don't want that fight, okay? Because we're talking about a fight for undisputed, okay? Now, I understand if you want to get 60-40, I think there's still a little bit out there, but I understand. In fact, I would understand more 55-45. That's what I would concede more to. But 60-40 like max. But when you're doing lowballing people like that at 70-30, that's a sign to me that you don't want the fight. So, obviously, I don't think that was fair. But Oleksander Usyk says, I'm trying to negotiate a serious fight with you. And okay, you know what? I'm going to accept 70-30. Okay, let's just do it. Let's just 70-30. So now he writes a tweet, Usyk, and says, I want to be undisputed. If you're not going to fight, vacate the belt. Just stop keeping the belts hostage. And this makes 100% sense. If you don't want to be an undisputed champion, don't call yourself the best fighter, because you cannot be the best unless you clean up your division. Everything else that you say that he might beat him I think he's going to be, it doesn't sum to nothing if you don't clean your division. And this was the problem. That Fury, it doesn't seem like he wants to clean his division. So Oleksander Usyk says, okay, I'll take the 70-30. No problem. Now, the excuse is, oh, we have to have a rematch clause. And I mean, this just sounds to me like all the excuses that Errol Spence was giving Terence Crawford. That's just the same excuses. Oh, you know what? 70-30, 30, okay, 65-35, okay, but now, we can't guarantee your purse. Okay, so that's a bad thing. But what really nailed it was when he said, we can't even we're not even going to guarantee, we're not even going to show you transparency when it comes down to all the cost of everything that you spend. So that's a red liner right there, because you have to know what you're spending. So they're not giving transparency for that. Like that's so shady. And this is the same thing with Fury with Usyk. It's just an excuse, man. He don't want to fight. He doesn't want to fight. It was the same excuses that Canelo Alvarez was giving Demetrius Andrade when he was going to become undisputed. He could have become undisputed in 160, right? Oh, Demetrius Andrade, he's a boring fighter. Nobody wants to see him, Yeah, he's a 3 world division champion, but, that doesn't really sum to anything. And, I could make history with Mexico being undisputed in 160, which will be middleweight. Oh, yeah, nobody wants to see that fight. Like, he would make there was even offered $40 million for that fight. Okay, $40 million for that fight. And he decided to get $35 million with Kovalev, old man, rehydration class. The typical dude. This is the typical boxer, commercial boxer nowadays. This is what they like doing. This is what they like doing. I feel like Gervonta Davis was doing the same with Ryan Garcia as well. Many fighters just don't want to take these fights because they're afraid of losing their undefeated record. That's what it is. They're paranoid about it. And Usyk is a good fighter. Usyk is a good fighter. I personally don't understand why Fury doesn't take this fight, because let's say, for example, let's go ahead and say Dmitry Bivol versus Beterbiev. Dmitry Bivol doesn't seem like he wants to fight. He talks about it, but it's really Beterbiev who's pushing the action to say, let's make this fight happen. But see, I would put Beterbiev beating Bivol. Whatever you think, I'm right or wrong, that's fine. That's what I think. I think Beterbiev beats Bivol. In the case of Crawford versus Spence, I believe Terence Crawford is going to destroy this man. In the case of Demetrius Andrade versus Canelo, I thought Demetrius Andrade was going to beat Canelo, just outbox him. Canelo it would be very hard to touch a fighter like that. But in this case, I think Fury could beat Usyk. I mean, he's a bigger guy. I mean, the dude has skills. Bigger guy versus small good guy. The bigger guy tends to win, right? Tends to win. So I don't understand why Fury is doing what he's doing. But I'm really disappointed, because now what Fury is doing, like the rest of the other fighters that I mentioned, you're stealing. See, you are robbing. That's theft. You are robbing Usyk from the opportunity to do something that Evander Holyfield did. He was undisputed in 2 weight classes, right? Cruiserweight and heavyweight. And you robbing him from being a much bigger star just because you don't take that fight. See, when fighters do this, they steal from the opportunity of the opponent. People take this, it's not. No, it is something, because that's going to be your legacy. In the books, you will check double undisputed. Oh, wow, this guy was undisputed 2 times in different 2 weight classes. His legacy is going to go up. But it doesn't seem like nobody cares about that. But he's clearly stealing from this man. And it's sad, because I think that that's really the difference between the old school boxing of the 90s going down before Mayweather and Canelo and all this garbage came through, and the boxing today. And it's sad. Nobody's claiming. See, let's say it's Stefan Fulton right now. Stefan Fulton wants to fight every single fighter in his division. He was willing to go up and fight Brandon Figueroa, even though to be honest with you, I thought it was. I mean, I thought he beat him fine, but he was willing to just go there and shut him up and actually go one weight class more and fight him. But Inoue came, so they're saying, okay, if you go up, you're going to be ducking Inoue because Inoue's calling you. So he's taking Inoue. But before that, he was trying to fight Murahon Amaliev, and Amaliev doesn't want to unify. He is a poodle. He is not, he's a ducker. He's a poodle. Okay, the dude doesn't want to fight. Why? Because he knows he's going to lose against Fulton. He doesn't even want to defend against Rais Salim. So we go back to the principle. There's fighters who want to take the risk, and there's fighters who don't want to risk. And the fighters who are not taking the risk are stealing from the fighters that want to take the risk. And the worst part about it, now you're speaking bad about this one fighter because nobody wants to dance with him. It's not his fault. It's the fault of the other fighters. Until boxing fans don't realize that and stop with this nationalistic shit, or I'm black and I'm going to defend all black fighters, and I'm Latino, I'm going to defend all Latino fighter. I'm white, I'm going to defend, whatever white Eastern European. Till you get that in your head, boxing is bullshit. Boxing is bullshit. It doesn't make sense. If boxing was what it should be, the records would look more like the UFC records, where you see losses in all the fights because they're taking the risk. So, I hope if Usyk can't get this fight, sadly, what I would say is that, you pretty much are going to have to take another fight. And who is that going to be? I mean, it could be a Frank Sanchez fight. It could be Andy Ruiz fight, or it can be a Deontay Wilder. Now, one thing that I think Usyk shouldn't have done, and this is to be honest, I don't think Usyk should have called that Deontay Wilder, because once you call out somebody, now you have to kind of fight him. You see, when Jermall Charlo called David Benavidez, you have to fight David now, because if you don't fight him, then you're a big poodle. Okay, you're acting like a poodle. Okay, you are not a man of your word. When Golovkin called Andre Ward, or he's talking about him, and they had this rift. See, now you have to go visit Andre Ward, and you're not doing it. You don't want the fight now. But once again, there's no problem with Clay coming up 2 weight classes. That's not. Oh, Canelo coming 1 weight class to fight you. That's no problem. But you got a problem going up 1 division. See. So I think that Usyk would have been smarter if he would have shut up and not mentioned Deontay Wilder, because now Deontay Wilder can say, well, you told me that you were going to fight me, and now you're not fighting me. So Usyk can't take, if he doesn't take the Fury fight, which is the most important fight, who is he going to take? Then it's kind of like, now you got to take this other fighter. Now you got to take Deontay Wilder. Now I know that Eddie Hearns is trying to make Daniel Dubois fight Usyk for a mandatory. That's what they're pushing for. But if I was Oleksander Usyk, I would take the Deontay Wilder fight, because Deontay Wilder is a proven fighter there. The other fighters, to me, they're not as proven. Andy Ruiz is a good fighter, but Andy Ruiz didn't even want to fight Deontay Wilder. He didn't even want to fight Deontay Wilder. Right, so Deontay Wilder now is trying to fight this UFC guy, whatever. Which I give him a lot of credit, because to be honest, to go to UFC, a lot of fighters talk the talk. Mayweather talked the talk, but he never had the balls to go to UFC. And now you have Deontay Wilder and Clarissa Shields that said, we're gonna do it. We'll take so much credit to that, because that's a true warrior to me. Okay, to me that's what it is. So, but if that fight gets made, or Usyk and Deontay Wilder will be a great fight. It will be a great fight. And I think Deontay Wilder would easily make that fight. He said he would. So, Deontay Wilder, I have a lot of respect for Deontay Wilder, because unlike Canelo, unlike Lomachenko, he didn't, when the franchise designation to duck his mandatory was given the opportunity to do, he never did. He never requested it. The other two did. One with Devin Haney and the other one with Charlo. So, it is what it is. I'm just hoping that these fights get made. I think it's important for the sport. And I just hope that you know, Usyk has a change of Usyk just gets somebody who he can fight, and hopefully Tyson Fury grows some balls and also fights too. So we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see what happens. Anyway, subscribe if you like what I said here. Give us a like, show us love here in Golden Era, and also subscribe, you know, and visit our channel, goldeneraboxing.com. Peace out, and to the next video. Deuces.